Welcome to Pentagram Motorsport. We've had the Suzuki on track. How did it go? Absolutely fantastically. Love that bike. Love the whole experience. And some advice for you, if you've ever watched MotoGP or British Superbikes or the Isle of Man TT footage and thought that looks fun, you need to get out there and have a go. If it looks terrifying to you, then probably don't. But if you've thought that looks fun, I can guarantee you it's absolutely as much fun as you think it looks. It was an early start on Friday and we've only got a single bike trailer. So me and my wife were both riding, put my bike on the trailer, she drove the Land Rover with the trailer on the back of it, and I followed her down on her bike. It was 0 degrees when we set off. It was absolutely freezing. Consequently, I wore lots of layers and textile riding gear. When I got to the circuit, one of the organisers was absolutely terrified. He looked at me and went, "You have brought leathers, haven't you?" Now, a quick word about gear. You need a full one-piece leather race suit. In addition to that, you need gloves which actually cover your whole cuffs so that when you move your hand, there's no exposed skin on the wrist. You also need motorcycle boots that cover the ankle, and the leg of the leather actually sits inside the boot. Obviously, you need a certified helmet, but the other thing that you're going to need is a back protector. Now, a back protector either inserts into your leathers or you put it on before your leathers, and it covers your spine so that in the event that you come off the bike, it's going to support your back as you slide across the grass and tarmac. It's important when choosing a back protector to pick one that's actually safety certified, but also that when you put your leathers on, you can still move around and breathe. So the first session was cold. It was really cold. Track temperatures were maybe 4 or 5 degrees C maximum. Took a long time for the tyres to warm up, but that's fine because on your very first session, you do what they call sighting laps. So you go out and all the marshals are waving green flags and there's no overtaking. It's not done at full speed. You're just taking it in, looking at the circuit, looking at the track condition and trying to get your eye in with the lines. After a couple of sighting laps, then it's go. And the session starts. Our first session, we only got probably 5 or 6 laps in because it was then red flagged. At the beginning of the second session, just as I was putting on my helmet, I heard this rattling and it was hail. Hail had started just as we were beginning the session. And of course, the thing that you didn't see in the preparation video is I actually chucked a set of tyres on the bike. And the tyres that I went for were a set of Pirelli Diablo Super Courses, which are basically summer, high temperature, dry tyres. Second session, I went out with an instructor, but we didn't really get the chance to put the bike through the paces or me through my paces because I was concentrating more on the fact that hail was coming down, and the instructor said as much afterwards. So I grabbed him for a second session after lunch. Third session, the weather had started to warm up a little bit and I started putting the bike through its paces. Now, there was a learning here. The objective of the day had been to just get the bike on track and do some laps with it and see how it got on. And it excelled. It was reliable, it didn't cut out, it didn't mess about mechanically. But by the end of the third session and by lunchtime, the brakes were pretty much toast. So before it goes on track again, I will be completely servicing and refreshing the brake system on the bike. But that's the thing with motorsport, it does tend to get expensive. my wife had decided that she'd had enough. She had a feeling in her gut that it was not time to get on the bike. Now, if you do this type of thing, if you ride motorcycles or you do any kind of motorsport, if you're at a track day or a test day and you get that feeling that you shouldn't be going out there, don't push yourself. Worst thing you can do is to put a helmet on and get out on the track, because that's the time when, if you make a mistake, you will not forgive yourself. First session in the afternoon, I used my wife's bike, which is a CBR 600. And it regularly does track days, and it had excellent brakes on it. As a result, I was able to push on much harder. Also, the sun had come out and the temperatures were starting to warm up. I went out with an instructor in that 4th session. He gave me some hints and tips of things I could work on in session 5, and put them into practice in session 5, and then session 6, strung it all together. Enjoyed the day. Would recommend it to anyone. If you've never done a track day before and fancy getting into it, I can thoroughly recommend it. And I can also point out some of the things that you might want to consider. Tools and equipment. The stuff that you bring with you is the stuff that you might need. If you've got the luxury of a big tour car, which we do, fill it. If there's something that you think, oh, I'm not sure if I'll need that or not, bring it with you, because I guarantee you that will be, on the day, the thing that you find out that you need. Refreshments. Bring some chocolate bars or something that will bring your energy level up. And try and eat throughout the day. You won't want to eat big meals, but what you will want to do is eat regularly, maybe even after each session. And the same with drinks, stay hydrated. Bring a big flask of tea or coffee. Bring yourself big coats, especially if there's a risk with the weather, and stay warm. We were lucky. We arrived in time to get a garage. So myself and my wife had a garage in the pit area to stay out of the weather, and it really did prove very useful when the hail started. Everyone's friendly. If you need to borrow tools, or you need to borrow fluids, or you just want to have a chat, wander around the pits. Everyone is really friendly at these days. The instructors are excellent, and certainly at a no limit session, they're provided free of charge. Use them. They are unbelievably good. The way they know the track like the back of the hand. The instructor I had was riding a KTM 390. Bear in mind that I'm on 750 GSXR. I could not catch him in the twisties. In a straight line, I had a fraction more power, but even then, he was out braking me, out accelerating me, and he was doing it all whilst he was turned round on the bike, watching me. If you already ride a motorcycle and you haven't done a track day, I can thoroughly recommend it. There are runoff areas. There's no oncoming traffic. There are medics on site. There are bike recovery specialists on site. Generally, there'll be tyre technician, and everyone on circuit is there for one reason and one reason alone, and that's to ride the bike quickly. This is not racing. If you go into a track day expecting to race everyone, that's not quite the same attitude. Treat it more like a test day, an open pit lane test day, but without timing gear. You can be timed from the pit wall by a friend of yours, or you can have timing gear on the bike, but what you cannot do is have timing information displayed to you as you're riding. If you've collected track telemetry data, save it to the end of the day or another day to look at it. This is not about trying to chase tenths of a second. price you go, enjoy it. You can be on the racetrack for less than the cost of a modern games console and a big television to play it on. And it is way, way better than anything that you will do inside of VR. So get out there.